Guess what? Every day is an opportunity for you to better yourself. Because the truth is, if you're not intentionally taking actions, having habits that actually improve your life, that doing nothing is actually getting worse. Not making the decision is living in fear. When you live in fear, you're not getting better. You're getting worse. And that's where most people find themselves. All people have to face fear. All people have fear as a part of their reality. But successful people are truly the ones that can take a step back, see fear for what it is, false evidence appearing real, and really attest at the very bottom of what it is, the core of what fear is, it is a test. And I can guarantee you right here, right now, that if you were to face your fear, and even if you were to get this close to death, but come out the other side, you would be a better version of yourself. You would be more confident. You would be more proud of yourself. I'm going to say that part again. You would have a greater sense of feeling proud of yourself. So then you need to ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Write a list. Everything comes down to writing things. It is literally the key that unlocks all the doors, is when you stop, pause for just 5 minutes. This can be done in less than 5 minutes, for you to sit there, set a timer, 5 minutes, and just reflect on what are some of your biggest fears. And once you have a list of your biggest fears, you need to ask yourself, which of those fears are you willing to conquer? And if the answer is none of them, I'm going to play it safe and stay fearful for the rest of my life, well then so be it. No need to hear what I have to say from this point forward. Maybe when you're ready, come on back. You're welcome. You're always welcome here. But it just doesn't make sense to keep hearing things and not doing the things. And the things that you need to do is it starts with facing your fears. It starts with breaking your bad habits. It starts with developing new habits, positive habits, living life with intention, positive morning routines. A lot of you may or may not know, but the 28th is a day of abundance. It's a day of wealth. It's a great day to be planting seeds. It's a great day to take action towards a goal. Because when you plant that seed on a day like today, when I'm recording this video, you can almost guarantee that if you continue the work, continue showing up consistently, with persistence, a relentless attitude, to not give up, and to do it even if you don't feel like doing it, that it will bear the fruit. It will start to bring about results that will carry you even farther and farther and farther into your future. Right? I'm driving through the mountains here in northern New Mexico, giving myself a big challenge today, but it's not a new challenge. It's a return to something I like to do around this time of the year, which is the end of June, early July. I'm looking at the weather, and I'm going to summit the highest point in New Mexico, which is Wheeler Peak. It's a 13,000 plus peak. It's going to be a 8-mile plus hike. Lots of elevation gain. I'm excited for the challenge. I really love putting myself in those uncomfortable situations. And it took getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? Driving an hour and a half, having some preparation, visualizing, making sure that I have all the gear, have everything I need to be successful for this challenge on this day. And you can apply many of those things to your own life when you're facing fears or when you're trying new things. The first time I did this, it almost it smoked my ass. I didn't have enough calories, meaning food. I didn't have enough water, right? And so, but I got through. And yet, the next time I went up, more food, more water, check. And then the next time I went up, there was snow drifts. I didn't have the micro spikes. And so, more input, thinking, oh, I got these two things covered, but now there's snow. Fuck, I don't have this shit. Well, let's add those things. Or at that point, I could have given up. But see, that's the whole experience of life. And that is what this whole message should be about for you to receive right here, right now, is have you given up on life? And if the answer in your heart of hearts is yes, where it's like some of you may be too proud, too stubborn to admit that it's a yes. Because why? You're still going to work, you're still taking care of kids, you're still doing the redundancies of life. That is not a measure on whether or not you've given up. There's some indicators there for sure. I was talking to a really good friend yesterday, and he's going through a really challenging season. And I asked him a challenging question, and he gave me a bullshit answer. And I called him on it because I knew that wasn't how he felt, because he had just spent the previous 10 minutes telling me about all the struggles of his situation. And then when I asked him, well, how do you feel about all this? His answer was, I'm honored. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit, man. You and I both know that's total bullshit. And that's the problem. So many of us, we've been programmed through our trauma, through our experiences, to not let down our guard, to not be vulnerable, to not be fucking real as a motherfucker with ourselves first. I understand how difficult it could be to be real with other people, vulnerable, but man, if we can't even be honest with ourselves, that means there's a lot of work to do. Nothing is lost. There's no loss. Even if you die, which we don't know when that is, but it is going to happen. If you don't do the work, if you don't complete what your soul needed to experience on this planet, so be it. Come back and do it again. If you get caught up again 100 times more, come back and do it again. You chose to do this. You chose to do this experience called life. And we are so honored to do it. And there's mystery to it that I have yet to really figure out. I have some ideas, but there's mystery as to why. Why do we want to choose this? If we're in the spiritual realm, right, we're all knowing, we're just eternal, blissed out, that we say, you know what, let's go into the density of 3D earth life, and let's go fuck around. Let's forget who the fuck we are, and then let's try and figure it out through the experience of life. And that is really the catalyst to what I'm expressing here, is that if you're not living life with intention and doing and trying and experiencing and testing your limits, really testing your limits, getting out of that comfort, then what are you doing? You're just here to play it safe? What planted the seed? What story are you telling yourself that makes you so afraid? Why do you have to be so afraid? And what are you afraid of? You're afraid of the very thing that we all go through, which is death. I heard something, it was a quote, and I don't even know who it's from, but it was literally like, the greatest experience that we can have is to die. And yet we're so afraid of it. And I think it's because it's an unknown. It's the greatest variable of unknown, uncertainty. There's all these faiths, there's all these religions, there's all these beliefs, but in our heart of hearts, we still have question mark and uncertainty as to what really happens on the other side of that. And so I've always tried to look on not what happens on the other side, but what happened on the foresight of it. What happened before we came here? And I've had a lot of revelation about that versus what happens after, even though I do have a lot more clarity on that type of topic. And I don't fear the thought of death, nor do I mourn it in others. And so many people, it can sound very insensitive hearing this, to think that, wow, that's just so insensitive, that you don't like grieve with people. And, it's like grieving is holding on to something that it's a delusion. It's, you're manipulating yourself as if you've lost something that you now need to grieve about. I heard from an interview, I think it was Alex Hormozy and Chris Williamson, and I forget who the fuck it was, but somebody had written a letter to his wife that had died, and it was just like, all three of us, like, they're reading it real time, and they're both getting all watery eyed, and I'm like getting the same way, because it was just this expression of unconditional love, of how the guy had tried to move on, but he couldn't move on. And then Hormozy jumped in there and he said, man, if he's already had the conversations with his wife, that if something was to ever happen to him, that he would absolutely want her to like spend as little amount of time grieving. And yet a lot of us are grieving this life process that's called aging. And yet a lot of us we believe things that tell us, oh, well, I'm older now, so my metabolism is slowed down. Your metabolism hasn't slowed down. Just naturally, it's slowed down because you're more sedentary. You're less active. If you become more active, your metabolism's going to shoot through the fucking roof. That's what happened to me. When I was sedentary, when I was going through school, my mid-30s, trying to finish up college degrees, yeah, I was stacking on all kinds of weight. But when I broke free from that and I started to become more and more active and then get my nutrition in alignment, guess what? All that shit blew through the roof. My metabolism isn't the problem. And what was the problem was my mind. That was when I started to shift the greatest, is when I started to challenge and open. I started to challenge my beliefs, the stories I was telling myself, and open myself up energetically, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, to new things without fear. Doesn't mean I didn't have some doubt, but I just started showing up in the world with an open heart and an open mind to experience things and just see what happened on the other side. And a lot of that was facing fear. A lot of that was needing for me to be courageous, for me to be neutral, to not hold judgment about certain things. There was a lot of things. I used to have a big time negative bias about yoga. Now, if you ask me now, it's like, I fucking love yoga. I used to have a big time negative bias about veganism, vegetarianism, and it's like I open myself up to give that a shot, and guess what? Both of those things have had positive, incredible impacts in my life. But if I had stayed closed-minded, stubborn, I would have never have given myself permission to experience something new. But I had to swallow my pride and at least just try it. And that came in a place of real humility, of saying, fuck, I have really fucking put my life in a situation that I don't like. And I'm willing to take responsibility for this and make whatever changes necessary to improve my life, because I don't like where I'm at and I don't want to experience this for very much longer. And I had a belief that I could change. Was it going to be easy? No. But was it possible? Yes. And it started with the mind. Positive mental attitude, getting out of the negativity, getting out of a constricted energy field that says, I'm not a morning person, waking up at 4. I'm not an outdoors person. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. Add this to it. When I was a 4th and 5th grade teacher, when kids would be very negative, I can't do this, I can't do that, teacher. And I would always tell them, yet. Add yet to the end of your negativity. I can't do it yet. I'm not a morning person yet. That gives you a little wiggle room to explore, seeing if you can become a morning person. Or at least understanding, why do you have the beliefs? Can you at least have that curiosity? Can you at least have the curiosity to be like, why do I have this belief? Where did it come from? Where did the belief come from? Why am I telling myself this story? Where does it originate from? And when you start to do that, you're going to learn some pretty incredible things about yourself. And some of that shit is it can be painful, because you're going to grieve that there's an old version of yourself that no longer is needed. And it's like shedding the skin. It's slaying the lower version of yourself. It's slaying the outdated version of yourself, so that the higher version of yourself, the better version of yourself, which is your number one purpose, can emerge. And that takes a lot of courage. And if you're willing to consider what I am sharing and expressing right here, right now, that alone, I give you a ton of credit. I'm proud of you for at least considering joining me on this journey. And if you really want to lock in and you need some support, click on the link down below. Get yourself the 1% Better Everyday Journal. Whether you just do volume 1 or you go for the full 6 months, right? Now's the time. This is a resource like never before on this planet, where all you have to do is literally just order it and then commit yourself to showing up for you. 91 days or 6 months, 182 days. And eventually it's going to be over a year, right? 369 days. 369. Oh, fuck. I love that. Thank you. Woo! 369. Yes. Yes. We are in flow today. Will you be in flow? Join me. I know you're afraid, as I just saw 222 on a billboard. 22222. I know you're afraid. I know there's things that are keeping you stuck. Allow yourself to challenge those beliefs little by little, 1% better every day. I love you guys. I hope that you'll do something outdoors that challenges you, that lets you find a new version of yourself. It's there, but it does take action. You have to start cultivating the actions and the patterns and the behaviors. So you have to ask yourself, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in this world? Do you want to be a coward? Do you want to be a hero? Who do you want to be? Because the truth is, you can be anything you imagine. No one can stop you from that. No one can take that away from you. People can, if you listen to people and allow people to have a heavy influence on your life, of course they're going to derail you. People are great at that because you're magnifying their own fears. So it's best that you just make the decision for yourself, start doing the work for yourself, and create some space with people that you know might not agree with you. They might even be triggered and activated in a negative way because, oh, you think you're so much better than us? I've heard it. I heard it. And I still didn't let it stop me. Because I knew that I was the only person that was going to truly show up for me every single day. And that if I wasn't willing to show up for me, then no one else fucking was. So where does that leave me? Where does that leave you? If you're not showing up for you, and no one else is showing up for you, where does it leave you? In limbo. But it's really going down. It's time to get up, dust off, and get going. And I'll be here to cheer you on. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses. Because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.